Hey, you okay?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Grand. I'm really glad you put a message in the group because I'm not gonna lie, I was completely in the middle of doing something and then I was like, oh crap, yeah, that's on.
No, it's all right. Thanks for joining. Yeah, go and grab, if you haven't got this already, just grab a notepad and pen and then your calendar and your diary. And then we'll make a start in a couple of minutes.
Cool.
All right, 1 more minute and then we'll get cracking. I've woken up this morning, classic, with a sore throat, and my voice doing that weird thing today where halfway through a sentence my throat just my voice just cuts out. So hopefully that doesn't happen in this webinar. All right, sweet. Right, we're going to make a start then, ladies. Thank you so much for joining on a Sunday as well. Dedication, so thank you. So just a quick reminder, we should have a notepad and pen. We're going to be making notes throughout, and I want you to be making notes whilst I'm talking as well through the webinar. So it's going to be very active and practical. And then also your calendar and your diary, a reflective mindset, because we're going to be reflecting quite a lot throughout this webinar. And then, of course, positive vibes on this Sunday. And please as well use the chat box. So I'm going to be asking some questions, and I want you to interact throughout that chat box. So just pull that up and have that ready. And we'll get cracking. That's fine, no worries. Notebook and can use my phone. That's absolutely fine, Kirsty. All good, all good. All right then, ladies, let's get stuck in. So hopefully this goes all smoothly. This is the first webinar that I've actually ran through Skool. So let's get stuck in. So we are covering today your roadmap for a calmer and more sustainable term. So first of all, we're going to be looking at sustainable habits and building a routine that reduces stress and overwhelm without then adding to your never-ending to-do list as a teacher. Secondly, we're looking at healthy boundaries. So creating boundaries that are protecting your time, your energy, and then your sense of self. I really want to emphasize sense of self and your identity of who you are as well, other than a teacher. And then third, a guilt-free self-care. So prioritizing yourself in a way that then actually feels achievable and genuinely enjoyable. I again want to just stress that point of it should be fun, it should be enjoyable. And then finally, summer transition. So developing strategies for a smooth wind down into the holidays. And we are actually going to make that realistic in today's webinar. So why are we doing this? Thought I'd just share just a very quick story, just a little bit about my background. So this is a picture of me and my first tutor group back in the day when I first started teaching. And when I started teaching and during my early years, I found myself that I was living in a cycle that I didn't enjoy. I gave everything to teaching. I didn't have balance. I wasn't doing the hobbies and the things that I absolutely loved and enjoyed. I would put it off. I would delay. I would say I was going to do something next week. Then it would be the following week, and I would never get around to doing it. And that ultimately then led to my identity beginning to slip outside of the classroom. And I didn't have the energy after work to actually do the things that I absolutely loved. So I then decided, it had to stop, and I took control, and you can do the same today. So let's get stuck in. And I want you to feel genuinely excited about this process that we're going to be going through today. So first of all, I want to ask yourself this question and write it down. If nothing changes between now and the summer holidays, how do you think you'll be feeling on the last day of term? I've just put these examples here. Are you going to be feeling energized? Are you just about coping? Are you feeling exhausted? Are you going to be feeling completely burnt out? Have a reflection, share in the chat with what comes to mind. So if nothing changes between now and the summer holidays, how do you think you'll be feeling on the last day of term? Put yourself in that position now, and let's pull up the chat box. What do we think? And I want you to write this down as well. Okay, so Kat's put just about coping, ready to just stop and sleep. Imploding while outwardly just about coping. Thank you, Claire, for sharing. Just coping, desperately wanting that break, drained. Yeah. Okay, so the purpose from this webinar is to then hopefully have a completely different answer by the end of this. All right. So I want you to write down your answers that you've popped in the chat, scribble that down on your notepad and pen for me. Okay, so how we are doing this. So your next task, we're going to be looking at your current schedule. We're tweaking and changing every week to then improve. But right now, your activity, you're going to scribble down your typical midweek working day. So this is just an example that I pulled up for, let's say, a Tuesday. And this was roughly my schedule that I used to do and follow as a teacher. And I want you to write that down. I'll give you 2 minutes for this. Literally just scribble it down now on your notepad. What is a typical day midweek looking like for you? And I want you to be specific. So start doing this now, but I'm just going to be talking as well at the same time. And be very honest with yourself. That is essential. So if you are coming home after work, you sit down on the sofa, say you pull out your phone and you end up doom scrolling on TikTok for 2 hours. Okay, write that down. And I want you to be very honest with yourself about how you are using your time outside of work as well. So I'll give you 2 minutes for this. And really visualize yourself going through this day. So you wake up, do you snooze your alarm? Do you get up and you're out of bed? Do you have a little scroll on Instagram? Do you hydrate first thing in the morning, or do you reach straight for your coffee cup? Do we have breakfast? Do we then not eat until lunch? Do we skip lunch? So really thinking through carefully about your day. Now, this doesn't have to be neat either. It's just scribbling down. As long as you can read it back to yourself, that's the main thing. And then just give me a thumbs up in the group chat once you've done that. So it's from the moment you wake up to the minute you go to sleep as well. All right, Claire's thumbs up is in. George, I know you're currently meal prepping as well. So if you want to do this task a bit later on, that's absolutely fine. Okay, cool. Right, Claire and Kat, because you've done that, next thing is you're then going to go back through your list and you're going to circle anything on your current typical day that you don't like doing and you want to change. And we all have something. We all have something that we can improve and we can make better. So is it, for example, snoozing your alarm? Is it, for example, spending less time on your phone? So go through your typical midweek working day, circle anything on your current typical day that you don't like doing and that you want to change. Awesome. Kirsty, circle your current typical day of anything that you don't like doing and that you want to change. George is on it. Definitely need to not snooze the alarm. I'm actually with you on that one at the moment. I've been doing that recently and I need to sort that out and maximize the day and just enjoy getting up earlier, because I really like doing it when I do wake up earlier. Okay, I'll give you 30 more seconds, then hopefully you're now circling anything on your current typical day that you don't like doing and that you want to change. So I'll give you 30 more seconds and then we'll move on. But yeah, definitely with you on that one. I need to stop snoozing my alarm. Cool. Okay, I want to talk to you now about your bank account, not your finances in terms of your bank account, but your summer energy bank account. So I want you to think and reflect. And again, I want you to be making notes on this. So are you making positive deposits or withdrawals from your energy account each day? Now, the aim for the next 5 to 6 weeks, up until you finish for the summer holidays, I want you to think about increasing your deposits. And some examples of that: activities that spark joy, hobbies outside of school, being strict with your time and energy. And we want to be increasing those things and we want to be reducing any unnecessary withdrawals. This could be letting tasks build up over time, adding things onto our to-do list, taking on too much, letting other teachers gossip and views drain you. And just this alone, this will sustain your energy levels more than you think if you carry this out. So we want to be increasing your deposits of activities that spark joy, reducing any unnecessary withdrawals. So thinking and reflecting and making some notes on that. Now, the good news. You are in full control. And this is something that was a very light bulb moment for me. So you have control over your own thoughts and actions, but not over the thoughts and actions of others. So when you control your thoughts, you control your destiny. So it's not about other people, it's about controlling how you respond and your thoughts and actions that can then follow. So let's get stuck into the first strategy. So this is building one sustainable habit, just focusing on one. Now, as teachers, we naturally love a to-do list at work, and we can also sometimes put too many things on our to-do list every single day. And this naturally then leaves us feeling overwhelmed, feeling that maybe we failed the day because we haven't gone through that list, and not being productive because we haven't then finished everything on our to-do list. So instead, I want you to think about in work, I want you to focus on just one non-negotiable task that has to get done that day. Just one. Because when you break it down, all of your tasks, yes, they're important. But if you really think about it carefully, there's only one non-negotiable task that can get done every single day. Sometimes two, three, but put that at the top of your list. So for example, if it's writing that difficult parent email, if it's planning that school trip and you're the trip lead that you've not quite got round to, if it's the reports that you've been staring at and waiting until you feel in a good headspace to start, which is something that I definitely experienced, and I would just stare at my laptop screen. But top tip for just getting these things done: buy a cheap kitchen timer. You can get them so cheap on Amazon. I can send you all the link afterwards. Just set your intended block time, put some focus music on, and go. So if that's after school, if you're in 10 minutes in the morning a little bit earlier, if you're fortunate enough to then have a free period where you actually don't get distracted, which is, I know, is quite rare, it's really setting your intended block time and really deep focus work as much as you can during the school hours. But if that can't happen after work, and it's just having a cut-off point with the time of when you then finish to go home. So outside of work, I then want you to focus on one non-negotiable habit that supports your well-being. And this doesn't have to be anything fancy. Meal prepping could be 5 minutes, just making your breakfast for the next day. Could be a 10-minute morning walk. So, if we're not snoozing our alarm, we can then get out for a quick 10-minute morning walk. Drinking more water. Something that would be really good in your lessons is giving the job of a water monitor to a student. It just takes the pressure off of you. They just have to remind you to drink water more often throughout the day. It's honestly been a game changer. So that could be one small habit that you could implement. Bedtime routine. How is that looking at the moment? 5 minutes of journaling can go a really long way for your mindset. Stretching after work. So activity. What is one habit that makes you feel calm, energized, and organized? And I want you to write these down. And then choose one non-negotiable habit to commit to in work and then outside work for the next 6 weeks, and write them down. So making notes on all of these points with this first strategy. So one non-negotiable habit to commit to in work, and then one non-negotiable habit to commit to outside of work for the next 6 weeks, and writing them down. And these are just examples, but obviously choose one that's going to be working for you. And just give me a thumbs up in the chat once you've done that, just so I know that you're ready, and I'll move on. Oh, Kirsty's ready. Claire's ready. Kat, how we doing? Perfecto. Cool. Okay, so moving on to the second strategy. This is creating one boundary. So most of our overwhelm doesn't actually come from the teaching side of things. It comes from saying yes too often. That can be very easy to do. Taking work home, or I'll just do this final task before going home. And before you know it, it can be 6, 7 o'clock and you've skipped dinner, and you then don't really have an evening to yourself. feeling responsible for everything, constant deadlines, staff room gossip, and teacher talk. So, for example, I'm fine, or tired as always, or counting down the holidays. This is just chat that has been in the staff room, and I think it's viewed as normal when actually this can feel quite draining. So, just really now think and identify what is currently draining your energy. Write this down. What is currently draining your energy? Write this down. So some examples, it could be emails after hours or on your phone. It could be staying late every day, taking marking home, or volunteering for too many extra tasks. These are just some examples that I've thought of. But what is currently draining your energy? And then the activity from this, one boundary that I need to introduce before summer is, and again, some examples: no emails after 5 p.m, leave school on time twice per week. Or it could be a lunch break sat or walking with a positive colleague, someone who doesn't drain you, someone who you genuinely love spending time with, that you feel really good in their company. And that alone can go such a long way. So we should have written down what is currently draining your energy. And then we're reflecting on that. We're reflecting on what you've written down that's draining your energy. And we're thinking about the positive shifts. So then one boundary that you need to introduce before summer. Okay, strategy 3. So this is guilt-free self-care, and I feel like it's so common as teachers for us to feel like it's selfish, or it's something to earn, or something that you don't have time for. Now, just thinking of it from another point of view, we wouldn't expect a car to run continuously without fuel or servicing. So why do we do this? For our bodies. Your health needs to come first. And as absolutely savage as this sounds, you are replaceable overnight in your teaching job. And this sounds very extreme, but if you were to drop dead tonight, they would have cover sorted for tomorrow, and then they would replace you with your job. And it sounds absolutely savage and brutal, but that is the reality of it, the harsh reality. But your health is not. So your health needs to be absolutely number one on the top of your priority list. And if it's not at the top at the moment, that needs to shift, and that needs to go right at the top. So activity for this, I want you to pre-plan your fun. So how are you currently spending your time outside of work? So you have some level of control over your diary and your calendar. So having a look now at your diary and your calendar in front of you, and some things that can happen, and this again is what has happened to me and I've experienced in the past. If you're not careful, your weeks will then just be swept away from you, and your time is then demanded by others from the school. And weeks can then quickly turn into months. Months can turn into quarters. Before you know it, the whole academic year has passed, and you have done zero fun shit because you're saying that you were going to do it the week after or the week after. And it's now where you need to make it a priority, not next week, not further down the line. It's really taking action today. So what we're going to do is I want you to schedule some micro, mid, and macros into your weeks. So you're probably thinking, what on earth are you talking about? So micro, you're going to create a 5-minute self-care that you can schedule daily, that's actually going to be realistic for the next 5 to 6 weeks up until the summer holidays. Now, again, doesn't need to be anything fancy, but like I say, meal prep for 5 minutes, just making your breakfast the next day so you've got a really good breakfast ahead, and putting on your favorite music and your favorite playlist. It could be a tea break with no screens, just sitting with yourself, calm and silence, because that goes a hell of a long way as teachers. And then stretching, 5 minutes of stretching. And again, that can go such a long way for your mental and physical health. Then we've got mid, so creating a 15-minute or 30-minute self-care weekly. This could be a 30-minute walk or a 15-minute walk. It could be running a bubble bath if you're fortunate enough to have a bath. It could be reading your favourite book. It could be the gym and having a really good gym session. It could be coffee with a friend that, again, you've postponed or you've delayed or put it off because life has been too busy, but it's time to now schedule that in. Text that friend and make sure that, you know, we stick to the plan, because socializing is so important. And then a hobby that you've always wanted to try, so something that you've thought of, maybe it could be at the beginning of the year and you've written down your goals for 2026, you've got something on there that you've always wanted to try and give it a go. Now is that time to take that opportunity and schedule it in and get booking, whatever it is. It could be yoga, it could be a Pilates class, it could be going to a new environment, it could be staying somewhere overnight, whatever it is. Just a hobby that you absolutely have always wanted to try. And then we've got macro, so creating plans. This is what I love about the structure of teaching. It's really lovely because you can create plans for your half terms, for your Christmas, for your Easter, your summer holidays. You know the times that you have off, which is great because then you can schedule things in. So scheduling a night away could be a spa day, visiting a country, ticking it off your bucket list. I know, Claire, that you've done that recently with ticking off 2 countries, and enjoying that in your Easter holidays. So it's about scheduling this into your calendar. And what that does is it then removes decision fatigue, and it's taking action and then sticking to the plan. And I want you to think about your life outside of work with following some sort of timetable that's going to make you feel really good, because the timetable you follow in school is structured and it's organized and it makes you feel like you've got the level of control with following that timetable. But outside of work, it's really about maximizing your time and making the most of it and enjoying it as much as possible. So moving on then to the final strategy. Strategy number 4, we've got creating your summer transition plan. So your activity, this is your summer readiness plan. I basically want you to map out the next 6 weeks in the lead up to summer. And I want you to get excited about this. And I want you to schedule your micro, your mid, and your macros. And it's, again, typical teacher talk of and I've been guilty of this myself in the past, of, you know, only 6 more weeks to go. And rather than thinking of this is the final slog for the last bit of the academic year, I actually want you to reframe that from today and think, how can I use the most out of the next 5 to 6 weeks and actually finish the academic year feeling the best that I've ever felt and the most energized going into the summer holidays, rather than feeling drained and absolutely exhausted. It's thinking about your micro, your mid, and your macros to then help you with sustaining your energy levels along the way so that you feel your absolute best going into the summer holidays. So plan in your boundaries, plan in your self-care commitment, looking back at your notes and the scribbles that you've made. Your self-care commitment, something that you want to stop doing, that you will stop doing, something you will then ask for help with if you're struggling with anything, and how you want to then feel on the last day of term. Now, start winding down now. And I know you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, what? I have got so much to do. But once you actually implement all of these strategies with your micro, your mid, and your macros, you will be surprised at how much your nervous system will calm yourself down when you are outside of work. It's going to do you so much good, and you're going to be showing up with a lot more energy when you are in work. You've got to trust me on this, and you've got to follow these strategies and implement these strategies. Another thing as well is really thinking about your current day-to-day life and thinking about your values. So your actions, your hobbies, your daily routine, they need to reflect your values and they need to be very aligned with each other. So some of mine is community, it's honesty, it's courage, and it's respect. So everything that I schedule into my micro, my mid, and my macros is making sure that I'm following those values and putting them into my day-to-day and my weekly, my monthly, my yearly schedules, so that I'm following my values and they're true to me. So after you have planned your next 6 weeks, I want you to put this list somewhere, and it's going to constantly remind you. So oh, my throat's doing that weird thing again, bear with. So close to the end, it nearly made it. Sorry, you're literally just hearing me coughing. All right. So put this list somewhere that's going to constantly remind you, on the fridge, desktop, wallpaper, whatever it is that you're going to constantly be looking back at. Oh, my throat. Sorry, ladies. Okay, finally then, commitment and accountability. So let's revisit this question. It's going to give me a little break as well. So if small, sustainable changes happen between now and the summer holidays, how do you think you'll be feeling on the last day of term? Now I want you to share in the chat. So look through your notes that you've made from this webinar. And if you then actually make these small, sustainable changes, and they're going to happen between now and the summer holidays, how do you think you're going to be feeling on the last day of term? Share in the chat. And apologies, I'm going to be coughing again. Awesome. Perfect. Excited, calmer, positive, in control, less overwhelmed. Yes. Okay. So this is what I want you to think about, and this is how I want you to be feeling. And this is realistic, and you can do it. So this is about making a promise to yourself of committing to whatever it is that you know is going to make you feel good. So I commit to, it could be then taking a lunch break daily and going for a walk on your lunch break. It could be having a 10-minute walk every evening, saying no to one unnecessary commitment, whatever it is. But what's the smallest action that you can take within the next 24 hours? And a little hint, I would actually love for you to update your calendar and your diary. And when you are doing your schedule, and you're building your diary and your calendar from the ground up, and you're just making these tweaks and changes along the way, I want you to be kind to yourself. I want you to be patient. I want you to make small changes along the way. And most importantly, enjoying the process. So speak to yourself how you would speak to your students. Just be patient, be kind. But most importantly, you have to enjoy the process, because it's not worth putting it off any longer. It's about taking action today and being really excited going into the next few weeks before the summer holidays. So again, a lot of my clients have heard me say this, but progress over perfection always. So making the small changes necessary every single week is going to go an awfully long way. So it's taking action. Hopefully I can read this without coughing again. So this is a line from a book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you haven't read the book, I would highly recommend putting it in your Amazon basket right now. But it doesn't make sense to continue wanting something if you're not willing to do what it takes to get it. If you don't want to live the lifestyle, then release yourself from the desire. To crave the result but not the process is to guarantee disappointment. And this is all about learning to value the process, which then becomes absolutely essential. So this isn't about squeezing in more activities or adding things to your to-do list. This is about giving your brain space that it actually needs to reset. You can then show up sharper, you'll be calmer, and you'll be more focused every single week once you start applying all of these tasks. So take the time, slow down, pause and reflect. We do not do this enough as teachers. Realign and plan your dream day to day, and it's time to start doing. Oh, so close to the end. So go and make your future self proud. Apply what you've learned rather than then just listening. So the power is all about the actions. It's no good in just listening to this and then not taking action. The power is in the actions, which will start now. So thank you so much for listening. I really hope this has helped, and apologies for my coughing fits. But what I'll do is I'll send you this document all individually, and I want you to share your updated calendar and diary with me. But the most important thing is happier teacher is happier students. They feed off of your energy, as you know. And also head to the Bite-Sized Behaviours classroom for the free resources, and also one-to-one clients. Just keep working through the other classrooms, because it genuinely gets you excited to working towards your goals and your inspirations and your life and your progress, which is what you should be really excited about. So if there's any questions, please pop them in the chat or unmute yourself. But I will see you in the next webinar, which will be every month from now. But shout in the chat if you've got any questions about anything that I've gone through in the webinar. yeah, let me know. I've just seen your message there, Georgia. Awesome. Oh, you're so welcome, Claire. Again, apologies for the coughing fit. I've also recorded this as well, so everyone's gonna have to sit through the coughing. But yeah, thank you, Claire. Yeah, feel free to go if you want to dash off. But yeah, I kind of kept it short and sweet because I didn't want to take up your time on a Sunday. But I really hope that you have enjoyed this webinar. And literally, if you've got any questions, please just pop them in the chat now. Yes, Kat, let's go. Yeah, go and get excited. Go and plan your schedules, and please share them with me. I genuinely really want to see them. Thank you so much for attending. You are legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you.